The period saw sustained engagement at the presidential and ministerial levels with neighboring countries, bilateral partners, the United Nations, the African Union, and regional institutions. It also brought developments of wider significance to South Sudan, including international recognition of the Boma-Badingilo migratory landscape, renewed attention to South Sudan at the United Nations Security Council, engagement with Sudan and Uganda, and diplomatic consultations arising from the regional Ebola situation. Across these issues, our approach remains consistent: advancing South Sudan's interest, maintaining engagements with our partners, and addressing concerns through the appropriate diplomatic channels. Let me begin with an important achievement for South Sudan. The Boma-Badingilo migratory landscape has been inscribed as South Sudan's first UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is significant international recognition of South Sudan's natural heritage and of the communities that have lived alongside and sustained this landscape for generations. The designation also carries responsibilities. The site has been placed on the list of World Heritage in danger, reflecting the conservation challenges it faces. The government continues to engage with UNESCO, conservation partners, local communities, and the relevant national institutions to safeguard this important national heritage. For South Sudan, the recognition presents an opportunity to deepen international cooperation on conservation and to present a broader picture of our country, its people, natural heritage, and potential for sustainable tourism. At the presidential level, His Excellency President Salva Kiir Mayardit continued to provide direction on South Sudan's regional and international engagement. During the reporting period, His Excellency the President emphasized the peaceful resolution of issues arising along the South Sudan-Uganda border. Uganda is an important neighbor and long-standing partner of South Sudan. The government remains committed to addressing border and other bilateral matters through engagement and established mechanisms between our two countries. On 6 August, His Excellency the President also presided over the oath-taking ceremony of 14 newly appointed ambassadors, calling upon them to discharge their responsibilities with professionalism, unity, and in the national interest. The President also bade farewell to 3 ambassadors proceeding to their respective diplomatic assignments in Kenya, Sudan, and UAE. These deployments form part of the government's continuing effort to strengthen South Sudan's diplomatic representation abroad and ensure that our missions effectively advance the country's bilateral, multilateral, economic, and consular interests. The Ministry maintained active engagement with the United States during the reporting period. On 10th August, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Honorable Ambassador Dr. James Pitia Morgan, met His Excellency Michael J. Adler, Ambassador of the United States to South Sudan, for discussions on bilateral relations and matters of mutual interest. Today, 14th August, the Minister held a follow-up meeting with Ambassador Adler, continuing discussions between the two sides. The follow-up reflects the importance attached to maintaining direct diplomatic engagement. Our relationship with the United States includes long-standing areas of cooperation as well as matters requiring continued discussion. We remain committed to addressing these through established diplomatic channels and maintaining a constructive relationship between our two countries. The Minister also engaged with the government of Kenya during the reporting period on land for the development of a dry port in Naivasha, and other bilateral issues of mutual concern. Kenya remains an important neighbor and long-standing partner. Our countries continue to cooperate bilaterally and within the East African community. The Minister met the Ambassador of the European Union to South Sudan, Their discussions covered South Sudan's Ebola preparedness, development and humanitarian cooperation, conservation, and other areas of mutual interest. The Ministry continued engagement with Sudan during the reporting period. The Undersecretary, Honorable Ambassador Agnes Osuwaha, held discussions on bilateral relations, including trade and economic cooperation. There has also been renewed engagement between the two countries on security and border matters. Sudan remains an important neighbor. Our countries share a long border, economic interest, and deep historical and people-to-people ties. South Sudan, therefore, attaches importance to maintaining communication with Sudan, particularly at a time when developments there have wider humanitarian, security, and economic implications for the region. We will continue to support peace through dialogue and practical cooperation on matters of common interest. The Ministry maintained its regular engagement with the United Nations mission in South Sudan. On 3rd August, the Deputy Minister, Honorable Ambassador Huey Buana Marwal, met senior UNMISS leadership. The Minister held further consultations with UNMISS leadership on 10th of August. On 6th of August, the United Nations Security Council held a session on the situation in South Sudan, including the peace process, security situation, and preparations for elections. The government has taken note of the views expressed by members of the Security Council and our international partners. South Sudan continues to engage constructively with the United Nations, the African Union, IGAD, and other partners on the implementation of the peace agreement and electoral preparations. Our interest remains a peaceful and stable South Sudan and a transition led and owned by the people of South Sudan. The government continues to follow developments concerning the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the wider region. According to the Ministry of Health, South Sudan is not experiencing an Ebola outbreak, and there are currently no confirmed cases in the country associated with the present outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Ministry of Health remains the competent national authority on public health and continues surveillance, screening at points of entry, and preparedness measures in cooperation with Africa CDC, the World Health Organization, and other partners. South Sudan and Canada maintain cordial bilateral relations. We value Canada's engagement with South Sudan, including its development and humanitarian support. Our engagement with Canada remains constructive. The Ministry has noted reports circulating concerning the alleged closure of some South Sudanese diplomatic missions abroad. South Sudan's diplomatic missions remain operational and continue to provide services. We encourage members of the media and the public to verify information concerning our diplomatic missions with the Ministry. In closing, the first 2 weeks of August reflect an active period in South Sudan's external engagement. The recognition of Boma Badingilo is an important international achievement and an opportunity to deepen cooperation on conservation. At the regional level, the government continues to favor engagement with our neighbors, including Uganda, Kenya, and Sudan, on matters requiring attention. The ministers' continued discussions with the United States reflect our commitment to sustained bilateral engagement. Continuous engagement with the United Nations, African Union, IGAD, and other partners will continue, including on the peace process and electoral preparedness. The Ministry remains focused on advancing South Sudan's national interests and maintaining constructive relations with our neighbors, regional institutions, and international partners.